Hi, this is Sally Morgan, physical therapist, craniosacral therapist, and Tellington Ttouch practitioner for animals and people. And this is Tristan, who is a Corgi, and we're here for episode 45 of Conversations with a Corgi. We've had a couple of days off and then a whirlwind of going to the Equine Expo, and I've been to see a few concerts and talked to people there, so that has taken up a lot of time as well. Pretty exhausted last night, and I have a very busy day today and tomorrow with clients and teaching yoga and a business meeting this evening, so things are just a whirlwind right now. But luckily for the mail, because when you're busy, there's nothing like getting a present in the mail, and this is what came in my mail. Corgi slippers. They are from a company called bunnyslippers.com. They are very nice because a person in the Corgi world got these for Christmas from her husband unexpectedly. They're as big as Tristan. And she put a picture of them online, and everyone saw them and said, "Oh my God, I want Corgi slippers." So I ordered them in December or January, and here they are, April. They arrive. Cute little Corgis for your feet. Years ago, I got these slippers for my mother in the Schnauzer form, and the Schnauzer ones are super cute. They make cats and dogs and owls and horses, all kinds of animals. So for you Cavalier fans, I don't think they make a Cav, but they do have, as I recall, a golden colored Cocker Spaniel that might work for you. But the Corgi slippers, how can you not be happy? Look at those little faces. They're smiling, they're cute, and they're great for your feet. They have a no-skid bottom. Look at the little Corgi mittens on the front. Sadly, their butt is nothing like a Corgi butt. But they're still really cute, and they definitely cheered up my week when I was so busy and running around, and I saw this bundle on the front porch, and there were my Corgi slippers. Yay! I haven't separated them yet. I need to give them their own little worlds to live in now. And Tristan, he's moderately interested. He's not sure about them. I snuck up on him when he was having a little snack with them the other day, and he just turned his head and went, "Oh, more Corgis in the house." Because the house is full of Corgis, including this necklace, which is from my friend Shannon Smaglick. She makes the most wonderful jewelry. She can do this for any type of animal you have. She gets an antique picture and then makes it into a necklace. I gave one to my mom for her birthday, you might recall. Today I'm wearing Corgi soap, and it has the most adorable little Corgi charm next to it. And for those of you who love Corgis and don't know about this, back in the day, really dating myself if you know about this, Corgi soap came in a little box like this from Crabtree and Evelyn, and it has Tasha Tudor pictures all over it of cute Corgis, Mrs. Corgi at bath time. The bottom's not cute, and the top has a cute little Corgi. So Shannon took the picture of the little Cupid type kid in a tub with a Corgi and shrunk it down and made a necklace. This is important for me because this was one of the first things when I had my Corgi, and my ex-husband and I were driving, and we went past a place called the Corgi shop, and he said, "Let's go in there." And I said, "Oh, I think it's a sweater shop." Well, it was a shop full of Corgis. We bought all the Corgi soap they had, and in fact, these are highly endangered this day because I don't think Crabtree and Evelyn are making them anymore. And then what was inside was an adorable little Corgi-shaped soap. And look at his little proud poof in the front. He used to be creamy white, but he's aged even though he hasn't been out of his box. And he smells nice. And we only used a few of these back in the day when we had so many and we were married. And I have quite a lot of them upstairs that I will donate to Corgi auctions and things. But the box is definitely worth framing. And I love the Mrs. Corgi giving the little Corgis a bath. It's a time of year when we're all giving our Corgis a bath anyway. And I love that Shannon is preserving these pictures forever on jewelry. So today we are going to start to talk about wraps in Ttouch work. And the reason you might want to use these wraps, let's just show you what I'm talking about. They come in every size, and you can get people in the Ttouch world to make them into colors for you. Oh, this one's stuck. A friend of mine named Jan Snodgrass makes them, particularly for her horses, and then she sells them to people who like them as well. And we have a purple one, and somewhere in here is my raspberry one. So when I talk about wraps in Ttouch, I'm talking really about an ace wrap. This is indeed an ace bandage. This is a 4-inch one. It's got lots of dog hair on it. And we use these to wrap up the animal, and they look a little like a present when they're in it. And the present is the benefits of these on your animal. This is a 4-inch one. We have 3-inch ones. This is a little bit wider. And then we have the 2-inch size. I have a little raspberry one. I don't usually have the warm colors because I'm not drawn to them. I have cold colors and saffron for corgis. And then I also have a few of these 1-inch ones, which I use a lot because my dog is little. And they're also really good to use on an animal's head if you're doing a wrap on a small dog. And as I said, you can find Jan Snodgrass, it's SNODGRASS, online on Facebook, and she dyes a bunch of wraps here and there throughout the year, and she will be happy to send you a bundle after you learn how to use them. So why would we want to put a wrap on our dogs? For shyness and nervousness. If you have a dog that is reactive, they can be really good to help calm them and bring them into their body. They are really good if your dog is afraid of strangers or going to the vet or fearful of certain people. So they're great to put on then. They're really good for car sickness, especially some of the head wraps are really good for car sickness. Hyperexcitability, like when your friends come to the door and your dog goes berserk and is running around crazy, that's a good time to have a wrap on him. Great for arthritis because they help support the dog and give him information in his body to shift the way that he is using his body and distributing his weight over his legs, so that in that way they're good for arthritis. They can also be useful for stress-related illnesses such as epilepsy or seizures on the dog's head or on the dog's body. I have only rarely used these for dogs with seizures because I have other tools I prefer, such as the Ttouch earwork. But if I have a dog that's having a lot of seizures, like my sister just had one, little Freckles was having a lot of seizures there before she got her adjusted with some medication and different things. If I had a dog like that, yes, a head wrap would be good. You can't leave them on forever. You need to take them on and off periodically. Trembling, regardless of cause. I have a dog that comes here now and his hind legs are trembling a lot, and he's not old and he doesn't have a neurologic disease. He's just had some injuries. He's a really active dog, and so he trembles in his hind legs. And that can also be true for kitties. If you have a dog at a show and he's really excited and nervous, or you're going to a training class and he's all waggy and excited to see the other dogs, a wrap is a good thing to have with you. If a dog is afraid to get in the car or fearful when he's in the car, wraps are great for that. And one of the things I mostly use wraps for, because of my work as a holistic physical therapist, is for balance. Wraps can really give your dog a lot of information about where his body is in space, which we call proprioception, and help improve his balance. And they really kind of bring a connection from the front to the back of the body and the back of the body to the front of the body. So it's very useful for balance. We also use them for confidence building. Again, because the dog knows where he is in space and he feels something behind him and around him, it can help him be calmer when he's facing new challenges, such as walking on different surfaces on the confidence course. They're great for helping your dog maintain his focus and bringing more awareness to the body. And using the wraps, if you have a perfectly calm, happy dog, it just gives them a new experience in their body as well, and it can be really useful for that. And if you're going to walk your dog in a harness, or your bunny or your kitty in particular, if you're going to train them to walk in a harness, using wraps prior to putting the harness on them can be really useful. And wraps, we weren't using wraps in Ttouch when I had my rabbits, so my rabbits didn't get wrapped up till later. But what I was doing with them was similar to the procedures we'd use with a wrap, just laying it over the bunny's body and putting them around their chest and their front legs a little bit to help them get used to the idea of something on their bodies, because rabbits aren't used to wearing clothes. And then if you have a dog that's fearful with different surfaces, as I said, and we're going on to the confidence course, you can use wraps then as well. Got a pile of stuffed animals that are not looking happy over here because Tristan's licking them all. So those are some of the things that we would use the wrap for. Now, as you might have heard, I said that we often use wraps for fear of thunder. And one of the other things I didn't mention is for relaxation. Wraps are really good for relaxation. I gave you a lot of circumstances when you would use them: car sickness, fear of the car, fear of the vet, fear of people. And to that end, the wraps do improve relaxation in each of those circumstances. So after coming to a Ttouch class and seeing how we use the wraps, a person invented the Thunder shirt. So this was indeed inspired by Ttouch. And in those days, we were also, and we still do, using tight little kid t-shirts on dogs to help give them a sense of their body. All of this was inspired by Temple Grandin's realization, if you've read any of her books, about when she was feeling uncomfortable and nervous and stressed out and her nervous system felt overwhelmed, she would go sit in a place with close things around her. I know when I and my sister were children, we used to hide behind the sofa sometimes. I can't even imagine being so small I could fit back there, but we had like a good time back there. But it was a similar idea because you're completely surrounded. It's like a rabbit being in his burrow. You're safe and secure. You know where things are around you. You know what's in there with you, and so you feel safe. So Temple Grandin just compressed herself. Like I have a client who's done this. She rolled her kid up in a futon, and of course like a sausage, so that the kid could move around in there. But to feel soft, comfortable space around you is like being in your mother again. It's really comforting. So that is the thought behind the idea of wraps and then the Thunder shirt. So this is Tristan's little Thunder shirt. And of course you can get these all over the place now. They have a cute little dog on them. They come in a few different colors. Come here, Bess. And they really are just like one step up from the thinnest t-shirt material. Can you stand up, hon? So they go around the front of your dog. Being a Corgi, of course, he's a lot longer than even his Thunder shirt. Your buns are sliding, honey. Come up. And the Thunder shirt was meant to be left on a little bit longer than we might leave our wraps on. But it's got Velcros all over the stomach part so that you can get it pretty snug around their tummy. So that's Tristan in his Thunder shirt. You can see his puff is sticking out everywhere because it's pretty snug in there. You can sit down, hon. Do you want to do a modeling run here? Here it is from the side. See, it doesn't cover his butt, but it's pretty snug here and pretty snug around his chest. So if there was a thunderstorm expected that day, you would put this on your dog maybe a few minutes, 20 minutes, 15 minutes before the storm. And you'll know the storm is coming because dogs that are nervous about thunder will start to trot around the house and look for a place to hide. So that's when you'd put the Thunder shirt on, and it does help calm your dog. It can be useful if your dog is going to be experiencing fireworks. I've had many clients, and I have used it myself in the car when I'm taking my dog for a ride somewhere. And because of the way it fits, it's really snug. There's not many ways that if he were bouncing around in the back of a car with a lot of things, there's not many ways he could pull it off or get caught on anything. And he is used to wearing a harness, and so he's pretty calm in a Thunder shirt. Are you yawning? Are we putting you to sleep with the Thunder shirt? So I've used the Thunder shirts a bit, especially on 4th of July, as I was saying. And when I have a dog like Tristan, he gets very excited when I leave the car. He kind of goes berserk in the back of the car. The Thunder shirt has worked a little bit for that. The thing that has worked the best for that situation with him is for me being quite stern and giving him the business, saying, Tristan, sit, wait. and then trying to take my time calmly, take some deep breaths, and come around to his side of the car, and then doing some ear work with him. Or if he jumps into the front seat, same thing, ear work. But in the meantime, you know, I've had the Thunder shirt on him. That's helped a lot. Initially, I couldn't even, he was so upset. He was running frantically in the car. If I didn't have the Thunder shirt on him, I wouldn't have been able to get his attention to do other things with him. So the Thunder shirt has been useful, and it is a good thing to have for your dog, even if you don't use it on a regular basis and your dog is not afraid of thunder or fireworks. It can be really useful, for instance, if you have some workmen coming into your house. I know some cats years ago that a friend had, and when some people came into the house to do some work with the draperies, they were making noise and drilling, and the cats used to sit in that window during the day, and they were really freaked out. So you can use Thunder shirts on kitties. They're a little different than dogs, but lots of people I know have used them on cats with great success. So if you have workmen coming in or just anything is going on that's out of the normal, they're useful to have around for your dog. So I can't recommend them enough. I think they're really helpful, and they're different from the Ttouch wraps that we use. So it's great to have a knowledge and skill in both areas. So we use these wraps for dogs, and there is, luckily, because people get really confused with this, these great books which you can get from Ttouch.com. There's all wrapped up for pets, and then we have all wrapped up for horses. And this picture has the horse wearing a lot of pretty different colors of wraps. And you know, the thing about the wraps with horses and dogs in particular, from my point of view, is that I use them a lot for animals with neurologic problems, including Lyme disease, DM in dogs. No matter how far your dog has lost the sensation in his hindquarters with DM, a wrap on them is really comforting and helpful, because they can't really feel, like your nerve fibers respond differently to pressure, light touch, deep touch. So sometimes a dog with DM can feel a wrap around his buns when he might not be able to feel you touching him there. And again, you don't leave the wrap on forever, just like 15 minutes, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, just watch your dog and then take it off. But it can really be helpful for dogs with neurologic conditions. And to that end, as I was saying about the horse, I wouldn't wrap them up quite this much. If I had a horse with EPM, that's where horses have a protozoa that lives in their spinal cord. It's extremely painful, very debilitating. A lot of horses die. Very few horses come back to a useful life after they've had EPM. Wraps are absolutely critical to use in this process. And if you go to ttouch.com or call the office, you can get another little booklet of Ttouches that you can do in specific wraps that you can use if your horse has EPM. It is a really devastating disease. I have worked with far too many horses with this disease, maybe 15 locally here. I don't go really far to work on horses. And it comes from possum poop, which they get in their hay, or you know, if you have a barn with a lot of critters living in it, and it's kind of old and ramshackle, that's the kind of place that a possum would hide in. So, or you know, sometimes just where the hay is stored. And around here, our old tobacco barns are used for hay, and a lot of critters will take up residence there for the winter. So if you have a barn, really important to keep out the critters, particularly to protect your horse from getting EPM. This has also been really useful for horses with string halt, horses with stifle problems. So we have used these wraps a lot with horses. And I almost always use a wrap with a horse when I go to see them. If you have a horse with jaw problems, tooth problems, the wraps can really help. Putting a wrap on your horse's head when the tooth guy comes to do your horse's teeth is also really helpful. And then, not to leave anyone out, we also have a wrap book for humans. And you can see some of the pictures on the cover here of different wraps we've used around the head, around the shoulders, on a person's arm, across their back. This really helps your posture. And then on your legs. And I have used wraps on the legs of many people who have had strokes. And I will often put the wrap across both sides of the hips and then down the leg that is involved in the stroke. And it does really connect the body right to left and help the person use that leg. The same with an arm, because usually with a stroke you lose an arm and a leg. And an OT, I taught how to do this with arms when I was working with her a few years ago down in Westfield, Mass. she still uses wraps on stroke patients. It really makes a difference. And I kind of understand the neurologic reasons why it works, but all the other things that we do with people after a stroke don't work as well as Ttouch. Wraps and Ttouches work really well. And I've been a PT for a long time, and we do all kinds of sensory exercises, walking exercises, things like that, but nothing works like this. And I think it's because Ttouch, Feldenkrais, and craniosacral therapy are all related in that they work on the central nervous system. They're very different than a typical physical therapy approach, which is working on the muscular system. So wraps, for anybody with any kind of a problem, like I've been having trouble with I had a bit of a slip last winter, and I really pulled a hamstring on my left leg. And I had something called pes anserinus bursitis in my knee, very painful. It's where the hammies attach on the inside of the left knee. And I was still walking and doing my exercises, and I just had to stop. I just had to take like 2 weeks off for that to recover. But now I'm dealing, and that leg's fine. Now I'm dealing with the right leg, who also was injured in that process, in that my hip is just like really achy and sore. So I've been using a wrap just around half of what this person has on here, once around my butt and then down one leg just to my knee. And that has helped a lot. It keeps you even in your gait. It's really interesting. So if you do get some wraps for your dog, and you can just buy Ace wraps at the store or at the dollar store. The dollar store ones stretch out. They're not as good, but if you have one and you don't want to spend a fortune, you can go there. But just try putting it on yourself. It really makes a difference. And when I was demonstrating wraps for one of my dog clients last week and putting them on his people, the people were saying, oh, put one here on me, put one here on me. And so we tried some different wraps on the people, and I think they like the wrap more than the dog, although it does really help him. So those are 3 different books you can get about wraps. And then, as I said, I don't dye my wraps. I get them from my friend Jen or other places where I am where people have wraps. But you can just use a regular old Ace bandage. This one, in fact, has dachshund hair on it from when my friend's dachshund was having a lot of problems with his digestive system, and he was having trouble walking. Those are some, I just got a phone call. I've never gotten a phone call during one of these. Those are some of the reasons that we would use wraps. And with horses, for a while, the Ttouch people were trying to get really long wraps to use. But if you need a wrap that's really long, we just tie them together. And we also use baby safety pins to secure them. So they are hard to find. You can get them at Walmart sometimes, or some of the baby stores. People have been getting them online. One of my friends used to dye the wraps until she's got chemical sensitivities, and the wrap dyes were hard on her. But she was getting cute little safety pins online to match the colors of the wraps. And to me, they were really precious because the pins seem to get lost all the time. So as I continue to talk about wraps, tomorrow I'll show you some of the basic wraps on Tristan in the Thunder shirt. Can you stand up, honey? He's really tired because he's been with me. He was at a horse expo all day Sunday, and then he's been at work for 2 days, and he has not had his time in his window to supervise the world, so he's very tired. The other interesting thing, since we're having rain here today, I'll talk about a little bit with Thunder, is that when dogs do hide, often they go to the bathroom to hide in the bathroom. They don't like literally use the bathroom in the house. They go to a place where there are pipes. And part of that is really interesting to me because Dr. Upledger once talked about copper to ground people. And in fact, he took a copper wire and attached a woman's toe to a copper pipe that happened to be in the treatment room where he was. And it grounded her and it helped her pain. And it really changed her experience in life. And I think to this day, 20 years later, she is still tying her toe with a copper wire to a copper pipe in her kitchen to help ground herself and stop some of the over electrical activity in her body. And so dogs, when I was talking to Dr. Upledger about this patient, I said, isn't it interesting that dogs kind of do the same thing when there's a storm? They go to where there's copper pipes and they lay there, often not under the kitchen sink, often in the bathroom. And, more and more we're not having copper pipes in our houses as much. But Tristan, from a very young age, has felt safe laying right behind the toilet, snuggled up next to the pipes there. I don't know why he goes there. He started doing it on his own. And I don't know if he followed me in there one day, but my other dogs have all done the same thing, although as they get older, they stop doing it as they become more confident. But many people have told me that their dogs have like toppled the toilet trying to get behind it when they're the size of a German Shepherd. So dogs are smart and they just want to be grounded. And I haven't tried this yet, but some of you may have a copper bracelet you wear for arthritis or something. And I don't know if putting a piece of copper on your dog's collar when there's thunder and lightning might help him. Certainly if you have a dog that's afraid of thunder and lightning, I would give it a try. And just get some copper wire. You can get it at jewelry making stores. You can get little thin copper wire even at a hardware store. And just wrap a little bit around your dog's collar and put it on him and see if it helps. And let me know if it works. Tristan's not really afraid of thunder and lightning. He hides in the bathroom for things like loud noises outside, but not thunder. We have problems with people shooting rifles, and I guess it might be turkey season. It seems like not a good time of year to be shooting turkeys. I don't know. But the neighbor across the street sure does do a lot of shooting on the weekends. And so I may try a copper wire on him and see if that helps. But I know for him, it's the noise. And with thunder and lightning, it's the electrical activity as much as the noise that is upsetting for your pets. So this is Sally Morgan and Tristan Corgi for episode 45 of Conversations with a Corgi. Today we talked about thunder shirts and I introduced you to wraps. And we also talked about fun things like Corgi soap and Corgi slippers. Who doesn't need Corgi slippers? We all do. And these were pretty reasonably priced, by the way, I have to say. If you love dogs or cats or horses, go to bunnyslippers.com and check out if your favorite critters are there. They are really nice slippers too. Comfortable and warm and cute. What's not to like? I'm a little afraid of tripping on the noses, but my friend has husky slippers and they have a big nose and she's never had a problem with them and her house is pretty slippery. So we will be back tomorrow to talk more about the wraps, and we will continue talking about wraps probably for 3 days, and I'll show you a couple of different ways to do the wraps and tell you what they're good for. In those particular configurations, and I encourage you to grab some ACE wraps around your house. If you've ever taken a first aid class or bought a first aid kit, you might have some wraps around your house or ACE wraps that you can use. Or if you're heading out to the dollar store today, pick up a couple. It's a good thing to have, and at some point we might talk about assembling a first aid kit for your dogs from a natural perspective to have in your house. And wraps would certainly be one of the first things I'd put in there because of their usefulness for dogs with anxiety and balance issues, etc., as we talked about in the beginning, and also because you can use them for their intended purpose as well to give support to an injured joint. So this is Sally Morgan for an episode of Conversations with a Corgi, and we will be back tomorrow at 8:25 where we will be talking about wraps. Bye-bye.